If you've ever smiled through pain, stayed quiet when you wanted to scream, or told someone "I'm fine" when everything inside you felt anything but fine, this video is for you. Because here's what most people get wrong about those of you who hide your true feelings. They assume it's a weakness. They say things like, "Just open up," as if the way you process emotion is some kind of flaw that needs fixing. But what if it's not a flaw at all? What if the psychology behind hiding your feelings actually reveals something far more complex and remarkable about you? Today, we're exploring the real psychological reasons why some people hide their true feelings. Not to judge them, not to fix them, but to finally understand them. And if you're one of these people, I want you to hear this clearly. There is more depth, more intelligence, and more emotional awareness in you than most people will ever realize. Let's get into it. Number 1. You learned early that your emotions weren't safe to express. Psychology shows that the way we handle emotions as adults is shaped almost entirely by our earliest experiences. If you grew up in an environment where showing feelings led to criticism, dismissal, or tension, your brain did something incredibly smart. It adapted. It learned to protect you by keeping those feelings inside. Maybe you cried as a child and were told to stop being dramatic. Maybe you showed excitement and someone made you feel foolish for it. Over time, your nervous system received a clear message. Feelings are risky. Hiding them is safer. That wasn't weakness. That was survival. The habit you carry now isn't a character flaw. It's armor that was built during a time when you genuinely needed it. And recognizing that is the first step toward choosing, on your own terms, when to take it off. Number 2. You feel more than most people, and it's almost overwhelming. This might surprise you. Research in emotional intelligence suggests that people who hide their feelings often feel them more intensely than those who express them openly. You're not disconnected from your emotions. You're flooded by them. The person who blurts out every feeling doesn't spend much time analyzing it. But you feel something, and your mind immediately starts processing, who will this affect? How will they react? Will expressing this make things worse? You're running 1,000 calculations before you even open your mouth. Psychologists call this high emotional sensitivity. And while it can be exhausting, it also means you tend to be deeply empathetic. You pick up on other people's moods before they announce them. You feel the weight of the room in ways others simply don't. You stay quiet, not because you don't feel, but because you feel so much, you don't know where to begin. Number 3. You've been conditioned to keep the peace. Psychology shows that people who grow up in emotionally unpredictable environments often become what therapists call emotional peacekeepers. Your role, whether assigned or self-adopted, was to keep things calm, to not rock the boat. You became an expert at reading tension and neutralizing it, usually by suppressing whatever you were personally feeling so you could manage what was happening around you. And over the years, that reflex became so automatic, you might not even notice you're doing it. Someone says something hurtful, and before you've even fully registered the pain, you've already put on the neutral face. Here's what I want you to see in that. You developed a form of emotional regulation that most people spend years in therapy trying to build. You can sit with discomfort. You can hold your reaction. That is an extraordinary skill. The goal isn't to dismantle it, it's to make sure you're also giving yourself space, somewhere safe, to actually feel what you feel. Number 4. You are terrified of being a burden. Research consistently links emotional concealment with something called high burden sensitivity, a deep fear that your feelings will overwhelm or push away the people you love. And this fear is almost always rooted in care. You hide your struggles not because you don't trust people, but because you love them enough that you don't want to become a weight they have to carry. You've probably said things like, "I don't want to bother anyone with this," or "Other people have bigger problems." But here's the gentle truth psychology offers us. Vulnerability, shared with the right people, doesn't burden relationships. It deepens them. The people who truly love you aren't looking for the polished version of you. They're waiting for you to let them in. Your feelings are not too much. They never were. You deserve to take up emotional space. Number 5. You haven't felt safe enough to be seen, but part of you deeply wants to be. This might be the most important thing we say today. The desire to be truly known, not the curated version of yourself, but the real, complicated one that lives in almost every human being, including you, especially you. Psychology tells us that emotional concealment is rarely about indifference. It's almost always about fear. Fear of judgment. Fear that the realist version of you is somehow too much or not enough. So you offer people a safer version, one that doesn't risk the relationship by introducing your full self into it. But consider this. Every time someone has caught a genuine glimpse of the real you, what happened? More often than not, those are the moments real connection begins. You don't have to perform openness overnight, but you do deserve at least one space, one person, one journal, one quiet moment where you let yourself simply be, unfiltered, unperformed, real. So here's your takeaway for today. If you hide your feelings, you are not broken. You are not cold or emotionally unavailable or difficult to love. You are someone who learned to protect yourself in the ways that were available to you. Someone who feels deeply and carries quietly. Someone whose inner world is far richer than the people around you will ever realize. Not because you can't express it, but because you've rarely felt safe enough to try. The goal isn't to become someone who shares everything. The goal is to slowly, gently, on your own terms, let the people who deserve it actually see you, because you are worth being known. If this video resonated with you, please subscribe. Every week, we explore the psychology behind the traits that make quiet, deeply feeling people who they are. Not to diagnose, not to fix, just to understand. And sometimes, that understanding is exactly where healing begins.